nothing but the dog in me. One must die, chase the cat.
Good evening and welcome to Pound Posse Presents, where yes, I'm having technical difficulties and it's a beautiful thing. I'm going to talk about last week's Connecticut Pit Bull Awareness Day. It was the 10th annual. It was actually a really well put together, wonderful event, and a lot of credit goes to Michelle Houston, who is the president of the Connecticut Pit Bull organization, and all of her volunteers who clearly worked so hard to make it a great day. Unfortunately, if you remember, last Saturday was a rainy, cold, windy, dreary day, and it kind of looked like, you know, rain or shine, it was going to be a stinker. But they brought everything inside, and I got there late, but it was, you could tell everybody was having a great time. I got to meet some really cool people and see some of my favorite faces, and you know, it was a really, really awesome event. I got to meet Elle the Pit Bull. Let's get that picture up. Yep, that's the one. She was amazing. It was really cool because I sat down and she just like gave me that paw, like she meant business, and looked up at her mom like, "Look, Mom, I made a friend." Elle was or Ellie as she's known, I believe in 2013 was the therapy dog category American Hero Dog. So she's had quite an adventure in her life and has come, you know, a long way from wherever she you know, where her beginning, so to speak, still doing appearances, still making a difference, still touching the hearts of many people. And I loved her pearl necklace. That was pretty awesome. But her mom, Leah, is pretty cool too, and it was really nice to make that connection. Always great to get out and about and, you know, see your Facebook people and the pages that you follow. It's like really cool. You know, anybody who's been to any of these events and met some of these crazy, fun, special, heartbreaking animals, it's just amazing. And you know, the more you get out and about, you never know who you're going to run into. On that note, I'll take the camera back for a hot second. And if you remember, you know, I always have my birthday dogs, and if you remember, there was one very special dog who actually came up to be on the show, and that was Murdoch. Murdoch's adoption anniversary was this week, and let's get that picture of Murdoch, Zach. Look at that sweet happy mush with his little pillow. You know, Murdoch is living large in Arizona now, and he's doing well. Checks in with us every now and then. Thanks to John Esposito for the post, and to my friend Kristen, who you all know from my birthday dog shows, who tagged me to it. It's so awesome to see this dog doing so well. His story was just one that captured my heart. Former bait dog who was, you know, taken into the shelter system. Unfortunately, he sat for like a year because he was evidence. Then he transferred from Town of Hempstead Animal Shelter to Last Hope, and they took such good care of him. And you know, John Esposito, who was one of the two wonderful people who brought him onto the show that time last August, a year ago August, he drove Murdoch all the way to Oklahoma to meet his new parents, who met him there from Arizona. And you know, just unbelievable the stuff that legends are made of, that John Esposito is. Again, just really, really nice to know that this dog got the happily ever after he really deserved after the hell that he lived through as a bait dog. You can see, I mean, his scars clearly are never going to go away, but he is a mush ball with just a heart of gold, And if you want to check out that episode of Pound Posse Presents, we did some special stuff with the set and made it Murdoch friendly. And that was back August 15th of 2015. Well, I remember. And again, you know, just an awesome thing to be able to see a dog, to, you know, want to get involved in promoting that animal and have it come on the show and get to meet him. It was just unbelievable. Also, it's been a year since some of us, Juno and Bert and Juno's mom and Bert's mom and Thomas and Wyatt and me went down to New York. Let's get the pictures of our trip to see Harley. There I am holding Harley. It was one of the pictures. I mean, it was so dark in there. It was unbelievable the way the lights were casting some pretty unflattering shadows. But that was, again, an amazing adventure, just to be able to meet Harley. I mean, it was Harley of all things. Again, American Humane Association overall Hero Dog of the Year. He was entered in the Emerging Hero category and, you know, totally blew that competition out of the water. Unfortunately, he passed away in March, and I can certainly, you know, that was right after I lost my Duke and my Bocce, so that was really hard. Zach, you can go through the pictures. There's a group shot. We've got Juno and Mom, Hudson the Railroad Puppy, who won the 2015 Therapy Dog category. It was the first time I got to meet Rich and Hudson. It's Bacher Labradoodle, and he's since passed away. And there's Bert and Thomas and Wyatt and Ma. Of course, I'm there in the picture with Harley's dad, Dan. The sad thing was that Harley had just seriously been like giving me such kisses, and then he stopped and the pictures were taken. There we're joined by Oscar Madison, New York City, and Tiki and their mom. It was just so cool to be, you know, it was Hudson, it was Bacher, it was, you know, Oscar Madison, Juno, Bert's Brigade. I was like just so overwhelmed with the really coolness of being in that situation. And again, you know, you follow animals on Facebook and you like their pages and you love their posts, and just, you know, to be able to finally meet them and hang, it was just really cool. Really a sad thing to have lost Harley during his reign, and I know that the Hero Dog Awards, I think, were just the other night, and I unfortunately don't get the channel, but I'm curious to see if I could find that when it comes online to be able to watch it. They were supposed to do a tribute, and I think they sort of shorted Harley out of it, but we'll see what's going on with that. In the meantime, just a really great memory. There was a lot of things, a lot of pictures that came up in my memories this week pertaining to my little adventure, and they've been popping up for a week or so with Murdoch too. It's just really nice. And yeah, that's probably the better picture of me with Harley out of all the ones that I took. Anyway, I will take the camera back for a moment, Zach, and I'm going to present you with some animals that need homes. Hopefully, you know, maybe somebody can help. If you can't help, please go to the Pound Posse Presents Facebook page, share them, go to the, you know, the original posters pages, do what you can do. You know, animals that need homes and have timelines, it's a little scary. There are two kitties, and let's get that picture up, Zach. Their mom passed away suddenly. The daughter can't keep them, and they need a place to go by Monday, this Monday, as in Halloween Monday. Baby is the kitty in the picture on top. Baby is 12 years old and very friendly. M&M is the kitty in the picture on the bottom, And at 13 years old, takes time to warm up, and then she is yours. They're saying that they can stay together or be separated. I'm not sure, obviously, of the dynamic and the relationship between the two, but I personally always love to see animals who have lived together stay together. At an advanced age, I just feel so horrible when they become displaced. They probably lived in their home forever. They probably lived with each other forever. Now they're, facing an uncertain future. Don't know what will happen to them after the 31st. I'd hope that they, don't end up in a shelter and somebody can take them, because it's so sad. The contact person for these two kitties is Anne, and her number is 203-314-5138. Once again, Anne at 203-314-5138. This is a pair of kitties whose mom passed away suddenly, and they are in need of a home by Monday. Like I said, I don't know what the situation is. They're saying they can be separated or adopted together. Whatever the case may be, they need a soft place to land. Next up, there's a pair of older dogs in Middletown. Let's get those guys up. You can flash, back and forth, not too fast, between the two of them, Zach. They're a pair of older dogs. They do need to stay together. Freckles and Mason have been together since they were 3 months old, which is, a lifetime. Again, their owner passed away unexpectedly, and there's no family to take them in. They're described as wonderful, well cared for, about 7 years old, respectively spayed and neutered, up to date on vaccinations. They are very bonded, and they do need to stay together. Terribly sad. They do need a soft place to land too. Older animals who have been together their whole lives, very bonded. I'm sure that they are, again, in this shelter and being taken care of, but very confused and very frightened and not knowing what's going on. You can see, in spite of it all, both of them have the whole blurry tail thing going on. They're happy, they're wagging, they're, in spite of whatever uncertainty that they are experiencing, look like wonderful dogs. So if you can give Freckles and Mason a home together, that would be wonderful. You can contact Middletown Animal Control, and the number is 860-638-4030. Once again, Middletown Animal Control, their number is 860-638-4030. And really, please, somebody, give these guys a home. They're at 7 years old. They've still got time left, and like I said, they're described as wonderful dogs who have been well taken care of. So it should be pretty easy, other than the speed bump, so to speak, of what they've been through. And I will take the camera back, and I can't imagine any animal losing its home, but an older animal who has lived its whole life in one home with one owner, and just that's all it knows, and suddenly that person's gone and there's nobody there to pick up the pieces, and they're in a shelter or they're facing a shelter. There's a lot to be said. Both of those situations are people who passed away unexpectedly. How many of us actually have plans for our pets if something happens to us? If you're in a couple situation, if you're married or whatever your situation is, I'm sure you assume that your partner is going to keep your animal, and that the animal will live out its life as it's accustomed. But sometimes not even that is possible, because a surviving spouse has to move or has to downsize or is not interested in keeping the pet. So what really, even in that situation, what are the plans for your animal? You know, as a single person, as someone who maybe doesn't have kids who are interested, they have their own kids, don't want animals, can't have animals, can't have the type of animal that you have in their home or apartment or condo or whatever. You know what, that it's really something to look into, to have a safety net for your pet if something happens to you, whether it's that you pass away or you become, you know, incapable of taking care of them. You know, even like again with the couple situation, you may have the surviving spouse isn't physically well enough or physically able to take care of the animal. It would really behoove all of us to have a plan for the animals. And you know, it's something that people don't like to think about, but it's reality, and reality, unfortunately, at its finest. That you know, you would have hopefully plans for what would happen with your children. You would have plans for, you know, your remains, your aftercare, whatever. But what about your pets? It's really something that bears looking into, to have some sort of maybe written agreement, to know that there is, you know, if it has to come down to going to a shelter, to make sure that the animal will be placed according to your wishes, that maybe you bequeath something to take care of them until they find a home. There's a lot of avenues. It's a whole topic of conversation, planning, something that really, you know, I probably could do a whole show on that. Or something, but it's a very deep subject, and I think that it bears looking into for all of us. Anyway, there is another older dog who is in need of a home. Let's get the rat terrier up, and this one's killing me because it's a rat terrier. She is a sweet 10-ish-year-old girl. She was dumped in Bethlehem. She's blind in one eye. She has had blood work, which all came back normal, so you're starting off at a really good point for a 10-ish-year-old dog. She's spayed, up to date, good with other dogs. She doesn't particularly like quick moves on her blind side, but you can certainly understand that. She really just needs someone to love her. And again, I can't imagine, you know, an older dog dumped, not knowing what's going on, ending up in a shelter. It's certainly not home. You know, she's certainly getting well taken care of, but, you know, with strangers, missing home. It's just horrible to me that these poor dogs, any dog, but especially the older ones, go through this. Anyway, if you are interested in this little girl, and the last I saw, she was still available, and Lord help me, it's so tempting. You can email me and I will put you in touch, because I don't exactly have the contact information for you handy. You can email me at pawprints713@aol.com, pawprints713@aol.com, or you can message me through Facebook on the Pound Posse Presents Facebook page. We've got some events, and I'll take the camera back for a sec. We've got some events coming up. Kind of not a lot of notice, but didn't do a show last week, so we're going to talk about these this week. Let's get the poster up for the love of Jack. Good job, because that was it was an abbreviation. Anyway, here we are. For the Love of Jack is a really wonderful organization. I guess you would have to consider them like a support organization, which quite simply, you know, helps to take care of the needs of animals and sometimes their people. And they are some people who are near and dear to my heart. So their annual pasta dinner, which is going to be held tomorrow, from 11:30 to 3 at Marino's Restaurant in Torrington. The details are there on your screen. You can go to For the Love of Jack's Facebook page and find out more. Definitely an organization worth checking out. They really are some very good people and some very good friends. Speaking of very good people and very good friends, let's get the next poster up, the Bikers Against Animal Cruelty bowling event. And that is going to be on Saturday, 11/5, from 1 to 4 at the Wallingford Bowl in Wallingford. Again, people that I love and adore, doing an event to help further what they do. So if you like Bikers Against Animal Cruelty and you like bowling, this one's for you. Looks like it's probably going to be a really good time. I will take the camera back for the next one. And we are coming up on the anniversary of the fire at Sweet Pea. There is going to be a memorial, and that is going to be held on November 20th, which is a Sunday, from 7 to 10 p.m. at the Rutland Public Library at 280 Main Street in Rutland, Mass. There will be a candlelight vigil, and because this is going to be indoors, it's only battery-operated candles, no real ones. Sweet Pea has had a very, very difficult year, not just with the fire, but with a lot of things. I always say people wreck everything. Unfortunately, internally, there was some turmoil that has pretty much been, that's pretty much fallen away, and Sweet Pea is very much getting back on track. There have been some resignations from the board, which kind of paves the way for a better and brighter future. Some of the obstacles that were holding up progress seem to be gone now, and things are going to be okay. It was looking a little iffy, only because there were people who were being people, and it gets in the way. People get in the way of everything. So it's nice to know that things are really turning around, and now that there are open avenues of progress and things that are starting to happen already in the short time since the resignations and since things have changed. It's positive. It's wonderful to see people looking forward to getting back on track, and that's what I see when I see what I see with Sweet Pea. And the memorial is definitely something that needs to happen. There is an event on Facebook. I've shared that on the Pound Posse Presents Facebook page. You can certainly check that out. You could probably just type it into Facebook and find it as well. But that one is definitely worth, if you can't go, to light a candle that night. And I'm sure there'll be more forthcoming. Last but not least, I just want to go over, me and holidays and pet safety. Halloween can be a crazy time in everybody's house, and your pets deserve to be kept safe for the holiday. There's doors opening and closing, there's lots of candy, chocolate, which isn't good for dogs, any kind of candy with artificial sweeteners. Animals could be afraid of the costumes and like all the loudness and the giggling and the screaming and the laughter, because I remember trick-or-treating can get a little crazy. Your best bet is, if you have a cat, keep your cat first of all, keep your cat inside, because there are some very unkind things that happen to cats around Halloween. Black cats, yes. White cats, even more so. You can Google that and take that to the bank. Keep your cats in a room with the door closed that they can't get out of. You know, you're going to be answering your door, going to the door, open the door, close the door, forget to close the door. The cat slips out, gets scared because there's people walking around, cat runs off. What are you doing? Looking for a lost cat. Dogs, another story entirely. Keep them crated in another room if you don't want to close them in. Keep them closed in a room if they'll tolerate it. They may not be happy with that, but it's going to be a lot better than the dog getting scared from costumes, the dog getting out an open door and getting scared, the dog running into traffic and getting hit by a car, the dog getting into candy when you turn your back. There's a lot of things that, you know, can happen, and it's certainly better safe than sorry, because I think you'd rather have, for the couple 3 hours that trick-or-treaters might be coming to your house, you might want to have them unhappy and alive at the end of it than loose, hit by a car. In the worst case scenario, you know, especially if it's a new dog, and you know, sometimes a dog just does something because it's never done it before. You don't want your dog to get scared by someone's costume and actually go after a trick-or-treater, and then your dog has a bite history, and you know, somebody gets hurt, and that opens up a whole new can of worms. So rather than take the chances and have the problems, I think it's certainly much better to confine your pets and keep them safe. It's pretty much a small price to pay, you know, for the ultimate goal of the safety of your animals. And you know, your cats can get into the candy too, and that will become a nightmare. Just keep them inside and keep them safe, and you know, you're that much farther ahead of the game. Certainly, if you have pictures of your pets in costume, would love to see them. What, Zach? Oh, okay. You're talking, and usually when you're talking, I'm trying to listen to you, because I don't know if you actually have something to say. Anyway, at this point, I have something to say, and that's going to be peace, love, and dogs. Until next week, folks, thank you very much, and happy Halloween.